Have you ever felt a strange tingle, a subtle shift in your perception, almost as if your very senses were evolving? What if I told you that the key to unlocking deeper levels of spiritual awareness might be closer than you think, literally growing right out of your head? Today, we're diving into the fascinating and sometimes controversial intersection of spirituality and quantum consciousness, exploring the idea that our hair might be more than just a fashion statement, but a powerful antenna, a conduit to higher realms of understanding. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about yourself, and maybe even reconsider that next haircut. The concept of humans possessing innate spiritual capabilities isn't new. Throughout history, across countless cultures, we find myths, legends, and practices designed to tap into these hidden potentials. From the ancient yogis of India to the shamanic traditions of indigenous tribes, the quest for enlightenment, for a deeper connection to the universe, has been a constant thread in the tapestry of human experience. These traditions often speak of subtle energies, of unseen forces that shape our reality, and of our ability to consciously interact with them. Think of the chakra system in Hinduism and Buddhism, a map of energy centers within the body, each associated with specific qualities and functions. Or consider the concept of prana, the vital life force that flows through all living things, nourishing and sustaining us. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical frameworks for understanding and working with the energetic dimensions of our being. Even in the West, where scientific materialism has often dominated the discourse, there's a growing recognition of the importance of inner experience and the potential for human transformation. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, explored the concept of the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypes and symbols that connect all humanity. He believed that by accessing this deeper level of consciousness, we could gain profound insights into ourselves and the world around us. Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, further popularized the idea of the hero's journey, a universal narrative pattern that describes the process of personal growth and transformation. These ideas, once relegated to the fringes of academic thought, are now gaining mainstream acceptance as we begin to recognize the limitations of purely rational, materialistic explanations of reality. Now, let's turn our attention to the more radical notion that our hair might play a significant role in this spiritual awakening. The idea isn't as far-fetched as it might initially seem. Consider the symbolism of hair in various cultures. In many indigenous traditions, hair is seen as an extension of the nervous system, a physical manifestation of our thoughts and feelings. Cutting one's hair can be a symbolic act of mourning, of letting go of the past, or of severing ties with a particular identity. Conversely, allowing one's hair to grow long can be a sign of spiritual devotion, of embracing one's inner power, or of connecting with the wisdom of the ancestors. The Sikhs, for example, keep their hair uncut as a symbol of their faith and their commitment to living a life of purity and devotion. They believe that the hair is a gift from God and should be treated with reverence. But what about the scientific basis for this idea? How could hair possibly act as an antenna, receiving and transmitting spiritual information? This is where the connection to quantum physics comes in. Quantum physics, the study of the very small, has revealed a universe that is far stranger and more interconnected than classical physics ever imagined. At the quantum level, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a phenomenon known as superposition. They can also be entangled, meaning that two particles can be linked together in such a way that they instantaneously affect each other, regardless of the distance separating them. These findings have led some scientists and philosophers to propose that consciousness itself might be a quantum phenomenon, that our brains are not just biological computers, but quantum processors capable of interacting with the quantum field. If consciousness is indeed quantum in nature, then it's conceivable that our bodies, including our hair, could act as antennas, receiving and transmitting quantum information. Hair is composed of keratin, a protein that exhibits piezoelectric properties. Piezoelectricity is the ability of certain materials to generate an electrical charge in response to mechanical stress. This means that hair can convert mechanical energy, such as sound vibrations or even subtle shifts in the electromagnetic field, into electrical signals. These signals could then be transmitted to the brain, potentially influencing our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Furthermore, hair contains trace minerals, such as gold and silver, which are known to be excellent conductors of electricity. These minerals could act as amplifiers, enhancing the hair's ability to receive and transmit quantum information. Think of it like a radio antenna, picking up faint signals from distant sources. The hair, with its unique structure and composition, could be acting as a similar antenna, tuning us into subtle energies and information fields that we are not normally aware of. Now, I know this all sounds a bit woo-woo, but let's consider some anecdotal evidence. Many people who have experimented with growing their hair long report experiencing increased intuition, enhanced psychic abilities, and a stronger sense of connection to the divine. They describe feeling more grounded, more centered, and more attuned to the subtle energies around them. Some even claim to receive insights and guidance through their dreams or through spontaneous flashes of inspiration. Of course, anecdotal evidence is not scientific proof, but it's important to remember that science is not the only way of knowing. Throughout history, human beings have relied on intuition, on direct experience, and on spiritual practices to gain knowledge and understanding. These ways of knowing are just as valid as scientific methods, and they often complement each other. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I decided to experiment with growing my hair long. I had always kept it relatively short, but I was curious to see what would happen if I let it grow. At first, I didn't notice much of a difference, but as my hair grew longer, I began to experience subtle shifts in my perception. I felt more connected to nature, more attuned to the emotions of others, and more aware of my own inner thoughts and feelings. I also started having more vivid and meaningful dreams. It was as if my hair was acting as a kind of antenna, amplifying my psychic abilities and opening me up to new levels of awareness. Now, I'm not saying that growing your hair long will automatically turn you into a spiritual guru, but I do believe that it can be a powerful tool for enhancing your intuition, deepening your connection to the divine, and unlocking your hidden potential. It's a simple experiment that anyone can try, and the results may surprise you. However, it's also important to consider alternative perspectives. Some argue that the perceived benefits of long hair are simply due to psychological factors. They suggest that people who grow their hair long may be more likely to engage in spiritual practices, to spend time in nature, and to cultivate a more positive mindset. These factors, rather than the hair itself, could be responsible for the reported benefits. Furthermore, some critics point out that there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that hair can act as an antenna for spiritual information. They argue that the idea is based on pseudoscience and wishful thinking. While it's true that there is currently no definitive scientific proof, it's important to remember that science is constantly evolving. Many ideas that were once considered fringe are now accepted as mainstream science. It's possible that future research will shed more light on the connection between hair, consciousness, and the quantum field. It's also worth noting that the significance of hair varies greatly across different cultures and spiritual traditions. What might be considered sacred in one culture could be seen as mundane or even taboo in another. For example, in some cultures, long hair is associated with femininity and beauty, while in others it's a symbol of strength and power. Similarly, the practice of cutting one's hair can have different meanings depending on the context. In some traditions, it's a sign of mourning or repentance, while in others it's a way of marking a transition or celebrating a new beginning. It's important to be mindful of these cultural differences and to avoid imposing one's own beliefs or values on others. So, what does the science actually say? While direct evidence linking hair length to quantifiable spiritual experiences is lacking, some intriguing studies touch upon related concepts. Research into the placebo effect, for instance, demonstrates the powerful influence of belief and expectation on our physical and mental states. If someone believes that growing their hair will enhance their intuition, that belief itself could trigger a cascade of neurological and physiological changes that lead to a heightened sense of awareness. Furthermore, studies on the human biofield, a subtle energy field that surrounds the body, suggest that our bodies are constantly emitting and receiving electromagnetic radiation. While the exact nature and function of the biofield are still being investigated, some researchers believe that it plays a role in communication between cells and in our interactions with the environment. It's conceivable that hair, with its piezoelectric properties and trace mineral content, could interact with the biofield in some way, potentially amplifying or modulating its signals. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the limitations of our current knowledge. The field of quantum consciousness is still in its infancy, and many of the ideas discussed here are speculative and based on theoretical frameworks. More research is needed to determine the exact mechanisms by which consciousness interacts with the physical world and to explore the potential role of hair in this process. Despite the lack of definitive scientific proof, the idea that hair could be a spiritual antenna resonates with many people. It taps into a deep-seated belief in the interconnectedness of all things and in the potential for human beings to evolve and transcend their limitations. It also offers a simple and accessible way to explore one's own spirituality and to connect with the divine. The contemporary impact of this idea is multifaceted. On a personal level, it encourages self-experimentation and exploration. It invites us to question our assumptions about ourselves and the world around us and to consider the possibility that we are capable of far more than we realize. It also promotes a greater appreciation for the body and for the wisdom of ancient traditions. Culturally, the idea of hair as a spiritual antenna challenges the dominant materialistic worldview and encourages a more holistic and integrated approach to health and well-being. It aligns with the growing interest in alternative therapies, in mindfulness practices, and in spiritual traditions that emphasize the importance of inner experience. Technologically, this idea could inspire new innovations in the field of bioelectronics. Imagine developing devices that can amplify the subtle energies emitted by the body, or that can use hair as a sensor to detect changes in the environment. These technologies could have profound implications for healthcare, for communication, and for our understanding of consciousness itself. As we move forward, it's important to approach this topic with both curiosity and discernment. We should be open to new ideas and possibilities, but we should also be critical of unsubstantiated claims and avoid falling prey to pseudoscience. The key is to maintain a balance between scientific rigor and spiritual intuition, to use both our minds and our hearts to explore the mysteries of consciousness and the universe. So, what do you think? Is it possible that our hair is more than just a cosmetic feature? That it could actually be a powerful antenna connecting us to higher realms of awareness? I encourage you to explore this idea for yourself, to experiment with growing your hair long, and to pay attention to any changes you may experience in your perception, your intuition, and your overall sense of well-being. Ultimately, the truth about hair and its connection to spirituality may remain a mystery for now. But the very act of questioning, of exploring, and of seeking deeper understanding is what makes life so rich and meaningful. Whether you believe in the spiritual power of hair or not, I hope this video has inspired you to think differently about yourself and the world around you. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more thought-provoking content, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future explorations into the mysteries of consciousness and the universe. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family who might find it interesting. Thanks for watching.